Hello.
Howdy.
Welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I am your host, Is. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Marcus. And today we're discussing Raw.
Yeah, Raw. Ah. We had what could have been two good matches. We had one great match. Could have had a third. Well, I could have had a second. If it wasn't for Umberto getting injured.
Dude, I'm Umberto, like he has my full heart right now. I feel so bad for him.
Mhm. Yeah.
Unless maybe he was just doing a really good job of pretending to be hurt.
You know what sucks the most? The two best stories on Raw, Cedric and Shelton, and Sheamus and Umberto, probably just ended.
You think so? At least for Shelton and Cedric.
Oh yeah, that's not coming up ever again. Probably. That was Cedric getting buried, and that was Shelton, moving up.
I don't know. I still have hope.
I don't at all.
I don't know, man. I also noticed that I didn't turn my notes up to 30-point font, and I was like,
You know what we need though? We need Shelton to start another tag team with Ricochet, and we need Cedric in a tag team with Mustafa.
I don't see Mustafa doing any tag teaming anytime soon. Speaking of, where are my boys? Where are Mason T-Bar?
Where's our truth?
Where is our truth, though?
Where,
Every week.
where's Keith Lee? I mean,
I just want Ron Killings back.
so once again, we watch Raw so nobody else has to.
We dedicate 3 hours of our lives to watching it and then 2 hours of our lives to talking about it. We dedicate 5 whole hours a week to Raw.
Well, anyway, you want to kick it off so that we can go through this episode as fast as possible because Raw drags. This episode dragged on.
To like 9:50, I think, and we were like, holy fuck, there's still another hour and 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
How would you like me to kick it off?
Well, I mean, we could just go right into the first match.
We could talk about the news.
It wouldn't. No.
I'm gonna start talking about the news.
Uh. So news.
The
That.
news! Get some energy in ya! Okay, that's definitely the opposite of what I was asking for, and now you made me on.
I yawn so that I
Anyway.
can breathe.
Oh, I can't breathe either!
I've been able to breathe all day.
I haven't been able to breathe for most of today, but I think it's self-inflicted, so.
So
Bad.
news.
Okay. So lots of stuff to talk about. Not really, but sort of. Let's start with EC3.
Oh.
Um, EC3 provided an update as to how he's fucking doing after being hospitalized. He wrote on his blog, which I didn't know that people still had blogs, by the way. Like I know Tumblr's like a blogging website, but like I feel like this is like a proper blog.
But also, boomers call like podcasts and news sites blogs.
Blog.
Okay, that's a blog.
Whole ass blog.
Remember Blogspot?
Remember WordPress? Ever have a WordPress account?
Yeah. My website's a WordPress.
Mine's a Wix.
Hmm.
Oh my god.
What?
You hear that?
No.
Cat sneezed the wettest sneeze I've ever heard a cat sneeze.
That's disgusting. Anyway, you want to talk about the news?
Okay. So EC3, as some people might know, I don't know if you know or not, but he was in the hospital for an extended period of time because he had a serious infection, which I believe he said was a product of him having a problem and not really paying any attention to it, like a man would. The blog is exceptionally long.
Mm-hmm.
Much longer than I would ever dare to read on this fucking podcast. Basically, he said he was infected once in his foot, stemming from a wound from a torn toe tendon procedure. Then another from a cut suffered during a match, where the wrestling ring canvas might not have been the most sanitary thing in the world, which no wrestling ring canvas should ever be considered sanitary for anybody's sake. You should always just assume it's disgusting.
Unless they wipe it down in between matches.
Still, I think the general consensus is just wrestling rings are fucking nasty. People are sweating and rolling all around in them.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, both times these problems were treated with antibiotics. He said he missed no activity and continued his tireless efforts of conquest in the physical, mental, and spiritual realms. But then a couple weeks ago, he got swelling in his arm and then in other areas of his body. And it turned out, after he completely ignored it, it turned out to be a nasty fucking infection. His arm became like disgustingly swollen and ended up in the Advent Health downtown Orlando, the LMFAO, if you will, for I think he said like 10 days. I guess like it was a staph infection. Which is usually like really bad because staph infections are pretty antibiotic resistant.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that he's circled 3 dates in his calendar. The fight continues. May 27th is the first. There's no saying what May 27th is. But May 27th is day 1 for him. Good for EC3, I guess. He called his diagnosis tools the internet and bro science. And I said, oh my God, I am surprised you're still alive.
Yeah, that's...
On top of that, AEW has announced their taping plans for Double or Nothing. And it includes a 4-hour live show on Friday, the 28th. The Friday before.
Oh, okay.
4 fucking hours.
Probably
live show.
Probably the pay-per-view like itself.
I don't know what the thing is going to be. It's going to be 8 to midnight, and it's going to be 2 hours of dark elevation matches and then Dynamite. That's because apparently Dynamite's going to be at 10 p.m. on at Friday because of the NBA and NBA finals or something.
Gotcha.
And then the following day on the 29th, they're going to have a fan fest. Then the pay-per-view on the 30th. So they're trying to like really amp this up to be like a massive fucking weekend for them. You know, again, it's Memorial Day weekend, so I mean, what else are people fucking doing besides barbecuing?
Driving.
Won't be. That's for fucking sure. Okay, so let's talk about some WWE. First things first, Daniel Bryan might have a potential return date. WWE already in action. This is if Ring of Honor does not make him a good enough offer, I guess, to return. They really fucking want him. But apparently, there's a good chance that he's going to be back for a big match, apparently, at SummerSlam.
Huh.
Which is a really, really, really long time out. But
So he's staying main roster. Maybe he's gonna go after Bobby?
I mean, that's saying that if there isn't a shakeup early this year, which we are running out of time for that to happen, because I think if that were to happen, it would happen around now. I think last time we had about a month's worth of build up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Really don't. I don't even know. I mean, for a while, I kind of thought that we were gonna like. Thought we were gonna kind of have like a goofy couple of weeks where it's like, oh, where's Daniel Bryan? We don't know. He's still technically with WWE, but like now I'm like hearing so many people saying, well, like so and so's giving him an offer, and these people want to give him an offer, and I'm like,
Well, it's all hearsay, so you can still wonder where he's gonna go. Plus,
but that's what I'm saying is that like I kind of thought that like it was just gonna be like us pretending that he's not with WWE anymore, but like he is.
oh,
That's not the case.
well, as you know, card subject to change.
I know. We also have SummerSlam dates have been announced, locations have not. The dates are as follows. It will be the day before my lucky day, which apparently is a Monday this year, which fucking sucks. August 22nd.
Okay.
When you think about it, I feel like August 22nd feels so far away.
Yeah.
And then I realized it's 3 months away, and I was like, fuck. I'm just flies.
You're what? You're what?
Said time just flies.
Oh, I thought you said I'm just flies. I was like, oh, that's fucking weird, but okay.
Poetic mark. And then NXT TakeOver has apparently also announced a date and theme. NXT has announced the next TakeOver date and theme. Which apparently the next one is going to be, as you probably should expect, in your house, and it seems that it is internally scheduled for the 13th of June. Feels like such a long time to wait for a fucking takeover.
Yep, but when is Money in the Bank?
I think it's the weekend following.
What date did you say?
June 13th is when TakeOver is scheduled to happen. So it's either going to be the 14th or I think it's scheduled for the 20th. The 21st.
No, 21st is a Monday.
So the 20th.
On Father's Day.
What better gift to give your father?
Than the Money in the Bank briefcase. Wait, Rey Mysterio is gonna win Money in the Bank.
Happy Father's Day, Ray.
Yeah. Or Becky Lynch is gonna win it because she's the man and she's now a father. Or that means Seth Rollins is gonna win. I don't know. Seth Rollins wins Money in the Bank.
How many dads are in the WWE?
Kofi, Xavier, AJ, Uh, Sheamus a dad? I don't know if
No,
Sheamus.
Sheamus is chronically never going to settle down. That is because I do not count his 20-year-old girlfriend.
Is R-Truth a dad? He's gonna win.
R-Truth ever coming back?
Just appears on AEW this week.
At this point.
Oh, we're still doing the news. I completely forgot we were still on that.
Yeah. One last piece. After I get my lip gloss on. One last piece of news is that fucking SmackDown was a mess. It was noted that several big names as far as like higher ups were not there. Like Bruce Pritchard wasn't backstage, but that was because of a vacation. Like Wrestle Talk tried to act like this was like a big thing, but like he was just on vacation. And on top of that, I guess like the reasoning for it was just that the only reason that they did the throwback episode was probably because NASCAR's having a throwback race. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of all of that, Alistair's there was supposed to be a vignette with Alistair that was cut. Jimmy's return was changed at the last second. And Mia Yim was supposed to debut. And all of that got ripped away, pretty much.
That sucks.
Yeah. Also, I have one more piece of news. Sorry. Yeah. It seems like they kind of went into it half-cocked.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't quite know what they were getting themselves into at the last second. So.
I also have a piece of news, and it's super brief. It's that there will be some behind-the-scenes news and updates on WWE 2K22 very soon. They just made an announcement on it, I believe, today. Nice little update to kind of give us something, and them not pretending that it's close to being finished, which is good.
Last piece of news is just that the WWE filed for a bunch of trademarks. They filed for Blair Davenport, which sounds like the most obnoxious name in the world.
Blair Davenport.
Blair Davenport. And because of the way Blair is spelled, I can't tell if it's a man or a woman.
Is it Blare?
No, it's Blair. Blair can kind of be man or woman.
I think I'd say that's... I'd probably say that's a woman.
I don't know who it would be for. I mean, I guess they do have a ton of new recruits. But they filed for that. They also filed for Ari Sterling and Manjiro, which both those guys debuted on 205 Live. It's Friday, so.
Interesting.
And they also filed for more trademarks for Bash at the Beach, which is making people believe that they're going to reboot that special from WCW days.
Didn't AEW have a pay-per-view named that?
I think it was like Party on the Beach or something very similar.
I could have sworn it was like Beach Bash or something. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick. AEW Beach Break. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
And then Orange Cassidy has a finisher named like something at the beach.
Oh. I don't know what it's called, but we did just watch like a ton of fucking Orange Cassidy shit, and now.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there a list of his finishers on Pro Wrestling Fandom? Okay. Beach Break. Yeah, he has a finisher called the Beach Break.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, and I was like, figure it out.
All right. So are we done with the news?
Yes, we are done with the news. We are moving on to our matches and promos. Yay!
No.
Yay! Mark, look at it this way. We're one step closer to not having to talk about Raw anymore.
True.
Saved for another week.
Also, I want to remind everyone.
One day.
Hmm?
Go on.
I want to remind everyone of our new segment that we're introducing, a Q&A segment at the end of each episode. So if you're watching on YouTube, leave your questions in the comments for the next episode of the podcast. If you're watching on Twitch, get your question ready and put it in the chat during the best of the night so that we have them there by the time we do the Q&A. It can be about anything. Wrestling, non-wrestling, whatever. Alright, so Raw tonight. It sucked. We had fucking Drew vs. Bobby. We had Jinder Mahal return.
My boy!
How
they brought back my boy.
We had 3 different wrestlers distracted by music. We had a ton of non-finishes. And we had Umberto injured. Great stuff. So we started off with Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke.
It was real nice of them to start us off with this because the fuck. Okay. Mandy and Dan have a new walkout, by the way, as you noted.
Yeah, and they changed up their fucking gear. Thank God. So it's not the bright pink.
I liked when it was like semi-matching, and now it's just like the same color to a degree. We're back to square one.
I mean, I like this. I think it's fine.
Whatever.
AJ and Omos don't match.
Omos wears all black. He doesn't need to match.
Who's the other tag team? Oh, I guess. Well, Lindsay and Grand Metalik don't match.
They're both luchadors. Like, they have the same vibe. Indy and Dana just have the same hair.
They have the same vibe, and that vibe is blonde.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we start with Mandy versus Naya. Mandy swings at Charlotte Flair, who's on the apron, and then gets tackled by Naya. Shayna gets in, stomps on Mandy before getting her up to kind of twist her arm around. Mandy then lifts Shayna, shoves her into the corner. Shayna kicks at Dana's head. And it's a really light kick. It's just like a, get out of here. It's sort of like what I do like when the cat gets like too close to the wheel of the chair. Kind of nudge her head with my foot. It's just like, oh man, this sucks. But this gets Asuka in. Asuka can't manage the German suplex on Shayna. She drop kicks her after breaking free from a side headlock. Mandy and Dana get in. There's a drop kick Mandy and Dana interfere. They don't get in. Interfere. There's a drop kick to Charlotte from Mandy and a drop kick to Shayna from Dana. I'd say. And then Alexa Bliss comes out.
Who? Alexa, who now?
And what's the little fucking freak's name? Emily?
Lily.
Oh. Shows how much I pay attention to this.
I mean, you're supposed to. We have a podcast.
Oh, I mean, to Alexa Bliss specifically. Obviously, I pay attention to the rest of it. I've got notes.
You have what?
5 pages of notes when it's at font 30.
God.
To be fair, I've maximized the font so I can actually read it. So Alexa Bliss is there, and I don't know what she says. She's surveying the competition, you know? She's she and Lily are gonna have a fun little time watching the ladies, causing problems, and completely ignoring the fact that Lily's favorite color is red, and she was totally creeping on Sonya last week, and I guess we're throwing that away. I don't know what that was about now.
Alexa Bliss's whole thing has been so stupid since she left the Fiend. Like, well, I thought the Fiend, like, powered her up. But
I'd wager a bet that Alexa Bliss's thing, in my opinion, has been stupid since before she left the feed.
I didn't even think it was stupid. I thought the whole, like, child thing was stupid, but, like, the concept of her being supernatural wasn't stupid in and of itself.
It was misdone.
At some points, yes. But
misexecuted.
I think Lily's stupid. I think how this whole thing is done is stupid.
I think retconning Bliss's fucking entire past is stupid.
But the only thing I want to see now is Lily versus Ramblin' Rabbit.
Oh, come on. Ramblin's gone through so much.
Yeah, and he can go through a lot more. He'll probably win this. But it'll probably be him in a squash match where he's squashed by Lily, and then Mercy the Buzzard comes in and... Oh, no, the pig comes in and fucks up
what is
Lily.
the pig's fucking name?
I don't know. Porky the pig.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's like distracted for all of 5 seconds.
Oh,
until
Miriam said Huskus.
Oh, Huskus. I knew it started with an H, but I was like, my brain wanted to say Horace.
Horace.
Like, I don't think that's right.
Horace.
Because I was like thinking Horace the Hog.
Wobblin' Walrus. That was the walrus's name. Man, that was great stuff when Wobblin' Walrus was out.
Is there like any chance we could bring Bray back?
Please. I want Bray back so bad. I feel like he's gonna come back for Bobby. Turn him face.
Okay. Maybe. But Charlotte gets in. She is against Mandy. She starts stomping on Mandy before getting her legs around Mandy's neck and slamming her into the ground multiple times. And I said, wow, Charlotte, it's really hot. Then starts choking Mandy out with her legs and ooh, woo, ooh. What a fun time for Elizabeth. Shayna gets in. She kicks Mandy's butt before hyperextending the arm of Mandy, and then Naya gets in. Naya body slams Mandy. Mandy fights free from a hold on her like underarm and shoulder. Starts punching at Naya. She then runs at Naya, who easily hoists her up, and then just kind of like drops her.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for her to drop her. Was it like Mandy started fighting? Just looked like Naya lost her grip.
Mm-hmm.
Dana gets in. She slaps the shit out of Naya, and then Shayna gets in. And Dana tries to take Charlotte off the apron, doesn't really do it successfully or in a way that's cohesive. Get a backbreaker on Dana, and then Shayna's knee just buckles.
Also, Morgan's Mist is in here and says, God, Raw is so bad. Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It felt... Also, my social media seems to die on Monday nights around the time of Raw, so it's just like I'm sitting on the futon with nothing to do, nothing to look at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm refreshing like my feeds just to see like one new post. Just one. Instead of taking notes.
I just like going on Twitter and seeing everyone insulting the show. Like Sean Ross Sapp, Steve here, Denise Salcedo does it less, but Seahawk.
Denise Salcedo has a very positive outlook on Raw, and I respect it.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Shayna's knee, like, she's like, oh, my knee hurts, and then it just buckles under her, and she can't tag out. Asuka gets in, hits a sliding knee onto Shayna to win, and then Charlotte takes out Asuka. Alexa Bliss and Lily are just sitting at the top of the ramp, cackling on repeat, and it's so fucking tiring. That match happened, and I was like, it's like every time Raw happens, I'm like, maybe this will be the good episode of Raw. Maybe this will be the good one.
The match, the match wasn't even that bad. It was like
Wasn't.
some pretty decent in-ring stuff. I thought when Shayna's knees buckled, it would be really cool if they made it so that Alexa Bliss did that. Alexa Bliss just made her knees crumble.
She could like, you could have Lily and like be like fucking like with her leg or something, and then it's almost like a voodoo doll. Kind of thought that was gonna be the thing.
Yeah, I hope they start up like maybe Shayna and Naya lose the titles at Backlash, and then Alexa Bliss starts a feud with Shayna, or Shayna and Lily challenge Nia and Shayna at Backlash for the tag title and win.
I would love it even more for Alexa Bliss to be like, Lily and I are gonna challenge you, and then like she goes to tag Lily in, and it's like, well, it's just a fucking stuffed animal. And Lily just sits on the apron, and Alexa Bliss is like,
but then Lily like flings herself at Nia and like knocks her back.
there's just a fucking we cut to Nia like laughing. You just see Lily flying through the air because some fucking PA is down there just like on Lily duty.
Oh, that sounds like a great pre-recorded match. I love that.
Actually, that would be relatively funny. Yeah, so like Asuka's music plays after she beats Shayna, and then Charlotte fucking tackles her. And then Charlotte's music plays because that's the best part of Raw is that one person gets the last hit in, and then their music fucking overtakes everything else, and you're just like, what? I guess you're right, soundboard guy.
I'm officially annoyed by Charlotte.
Oh my god, stop. I like her. She's fun.
I think how they're inserting Charlotte into everything is annoying. And how they, like, with the snap of a finger, switched her over to the heels. Like, now she is siding with Shayna and Naya.
I think the problem is that, like, she has a good, like, storyline to go with to be a heel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like she should be one of those heels that thinks they're a face. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, after that match, we had the New Day and Riddle backstage. Riddle says RK Bro will become an official tag team. Kofi says, yeah, all tag teams must fill out the registration forms, unlike AJ and Omos, who aren't officially a tag team. Riddle brings up the tomatoes again, laughs about Randy getting hit by a tomato, and then it's revealed that Randy is standing behind Riddle. Morgan Smith said her gimmick right now is comedy to me, so I'm not that annoyed. That's fair. She's got great street clothes. Mean Girls kind of comedy. Okay. I respect that. But I wrote Riddle standing behind Riddle. That sounds horrifying. But Randy standing behind Riddle. Kofi says he's really sorry he got mixed in it. Xavier said he would have stood in the way of the tomato if he knew he'd get in the middle of it. Randy starts to get mad at Riddle. He says, you know what I find funny? I find ending careers funny. I just started laughing because that is pretty funny. Fucking.
I just like to think of him like destroying Big Show and Christian and Ric Flair,
Mark
all those
Henry.
guys backstage, and just kind of being like,
Why do you think he makes dumb faces?
Perfect. Okay.
We then go over to MVP, who is knocking on Braun Strowman's door. This whole storyline between MVP, Bobby, and Braun I found probably the most compelling, second most compelling in the episode. The most compelling that spans through the whole episode. He goes in, Braun tells MVP to get out. MVP says that Bobby didn't beat you last week, Drew did. He said that Bobby said Braun is the strongest man he's ever fought. If Bobby were to lose the title, he'd rather lose it to Braun than Drew. If Drew got so injured he couldn't make it to Backlash, that would benefit everyone. Braun said, I don't like you. Or he said, I really don't like you. MVP says, a lot of people feel that way, but this is just business. I love someone who's self-aware of being a heel. Someone who knows. We then get Adam Pearce, Damien Priest, The Miz, and John Morrison backstage. Damien Priest says he had an idea. He wants to make the match at Backlash a little more interesting. And so the winner between Damien Priest and John Morrison later picks a stipulation for Backlash. The Miz is like, oh, that's so stupid, blah, blah, blah. And John Morrison says, I accept. And he says, we can guarantee we pick the stipulation for Backlash. And the Miz is like, no, you idiot. You still have to fight Damien Priest for that. Also, Morgan Miz said, RK bro, my last 2 brain cells. Yeah.
He's so mad sometimes.
One's a fucking moron, the other one wants to kill everything. Yeah. But after that, we get Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal's back.
Hey boy!
Maybe they can build him well this time. He says nothing smells better than fresh competition, despite him facing the same opponent he fought on Main Event last week. He's excited to be back, and he has Veer and Shanky with him.
Shanky.
Veer, one half of Indus Sher, and Shanky, one of the new Indian signings.
Who you would have seen if you watched the pay-per-view that I always forget the name of.
Was it a pay-per-view?
Superstar Showdown? Yeah. Remember, Superstar Showdown was technically supposed to be in India this year, but it wasn't.
Wait, was it Superstar Showdown or was it Super Showdown?
I think it's just Super Showdown. I think I always just fuck it up every single time.
I don't know. I don't know what that weird one was they called it. Like the whole Indian showcase. I forget the name of it.
I think that was Super Showdown.
Okay.
Because I think that's the one that they always do in a different place.
No, Super Showdown is the one they always have in Saudi Arabia. That's their pay-per-view, the one where they had Goldberg face The Fiend that everyone hated.
I'm thinking of Crown Jewel, which was in Australia.
Yeah, Crown Jewel is different.
Whatever. Super Showdown showcased all of their new signings from India and kind of was like the kickoff to NXT India, which I guarantee we will not see anything of for at least a couple of years. But it is nice to see Pinky, who's like young as shit and massive, getting some time in the sun. Also nice to see Veer, or Rinku Singh.
Superstar Spectacle.
Super Showdown, not a thing.
Super Showdown is the name of the pay-per-view that they always have in Saudi Arabia. Superstar Showdown is a board game that they have. Yes, that's true because I just looked it up. Oh, why would they name it that?
They're just trying to fuck me up somewhere down along the line. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
All right.
So after that little promo in Gorilla, we have Jinder Mahal versus Jeff Hardy, and I feel so bad for Jeff Hardy that he's now acting as a jobber.
Can I say something?
Hmm.
I got two things to say.
Yeah.
I know some people are really into Jeff Hardy, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It's like, I don't know. I'm a pretty thirsty person. Like, I can probably see something attractive in like 90% of the people that you put in front of me, especially when they're wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Hardy just does not do it for me. Maybe back when he was younger, yeah. I could see that.
Let's not put those people on blast right now.
No, I'm just saying I just don't get it. Wish I did. I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, but
apparently Jeff Hardy kind of like there's I don't know how founded these rumors are, but I guess there's like some rumors that his contract is almost up. He apparently blew a kiss to the crowd before coming to like the ring, and people said that it seemed kind of like a little heavier than you would expect. I don't know.
You would think if somebody as illustrious as Jeff Hardy, if his contract was ending, they would kind of give him a bigger send-off than fighting in main event matches and disappearing for a while.
I don't know. I wasn't really worried about it because I also didn't notice it, but I just feel like he's kind of at like a little weird crossroads right now where it's like nothing spectacular is happening. But they just don't have anything for him. And luckily, he's one of those people that like they don't have anything for him, but they're still putting him on in certain places.
Mm-hmm.
However, with that said, Jinder Mahal is back.
He is back. And hopefully they give him a good feud. Probably against Drew.
I've been waiting so long. So fucking long for him to return. Finally. It was like I thought he was going to return after
Superstar Spectacle.
I thought he was going to return after that.
Yeah.
I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did it, and I was like, okay. So Jeff dives in off the bat, kind of building off of the feud that they've sort of been having on main event, it seems. Jeff just dives in with fucking fists. Does not waste a moment. It's a drop kick off, kicks Jinder under the jaw. Jinder backs out of a jawbreaker and then clunks Jeffrey with a fucking boot to the head. A hard boot to the head as well. And yeah, maybe it was a thigh slap and a half, but like it was a convincing thigh slap and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I was convinced. And it's nice to like see shit on Raw where like for a second I'm like, I think you just hurt a man. So you don't get that very often. I think the only other time that we got that besides somebody actually getting hurt was with Cedric and Shelton, where like I sat back and I was like, there was one moment where like I audibly gasped and I was like, Jinder starts stomping Jeff, get a knee drop onto his chest, and then a vertical suplex. Jeff starts punching his way back on top, clobbers Jinder, can't get the inverted atomic drop because Jinder's a massive human being. It's 2 boots to the face and then double axe handles off the second buckle to Hall. We get a big fucking knee strike, though, that blocks a twist of fate. Jinder then gets his coloss executed onto Jeff. It is such a lovely little return. Not too long of a match that I'm like standing there like, why the fuck is this happening right now? But like, short, sweet, no external interference, because like when he came out with 2 men, I was like, oh, this might play into something. And I really don't want Jinder to come back and immediately be getting help from other people.
Mm-hmm.
So Jinder wins, as I expected, and I liked this match a lot, actually.
It was solid.
I also the first time in a very long time, because if you watch this podcast enough, I rag on Jeff Hardy on a daily basis. Jeff came out today, I was like, thank God. I don't know why. I don't know what it was today. I saw Jeff Hardy and I was like, everything's fine again. We're good.
Yeah. All right. So after that match, we had a weird clip of Sonya Deville and Charlotte Flair together. But then we go to Elias. He has more tomatoes. AJ and Omos walk in. Elias came up with a song for their team. Starts singing it. AJ starts talking about how he shaved his beard to now be a goatee. Looks bad. Also, I want to mention, everybody looked bad today. I don't know what it was, but everyone seemed to just look not great.
Everyone really seemed to have that weekend hangover on them still.
Yeah.
That Monday blues.
Like, Riddle's hairline was all fucked up. AJ's facial hair was, the goatee. Asuka's hair looked a little faded.
Well, that I would not hold against her, because Asuka's hair looks like it requires so much dye, and the fact that it looks as nice as it does, in spite of that, I dye my hair twice, and my split ends are like, hello. Her hair just looks so sweet, but everyone did look a little bit half awake, rolled out of bed.
Yeah, but you know who didn't? Omos.
Omos always looks clean.
Omos looks fantastic every time. But Omos then grabs a tomato and crushes it and says, "This is going to be our opponents." I love how Omos is the only one in this entire promo that is focused on the match. Elias is busy with his song. AJ's busy with fucking facial hair. And Omos is like, "We will win."
It seemed like Omos, I think he also said something along the lines of we don't need these fucking gimmicks. We just have to go out there and kill them.
Yeah. Also,
you know what, Omos, you got a good fucking point.
Yeah, he does. Morgan's Miss said in regards to everyone not looking great, and they realized they were working Raw. Yeah.
Honestly, if I were working on Raw as well, I would totally be just not there. Yeah. However, who looked really nice too? Sonya.
Sonya looked nice.
Sonya looked put together.
Charlotte looked nice.
Charlotte always looks nice.
In her street clothes.
She looked really.
Jinder looked great.
Again. Jinder's a beautiful, beautiful man.
Alright, so after that promo, we then have RK Bro and the New Day versus AJ Styles, Omos, Elias, and Budget Steve Cutler. AJ and Omos need a name. They really do.
AJ and Omos isn't good enough for you?
I wish. I mean, how about they just name themselves Styles? Because Omos has style and AJ Styles.
This is really missing out on you, buddy.
Or how about Phenomenal Style?
Where does Omos fit into that?
He's got great style. I think I make great points.
Yeah, I'm not going to try. We start the match with Riddle versus Elias. Riddle scooches his way right into a little armbar on Elias. Omos gets in. He just fucking launches Mr. Riddle. And Riddle, I don't even know what Riddle's going for, but basically moonsaults Riddle out onto his ass. Kofi interferes and gets headbutted, and then Randy kind of just like peeks on in, like, maybe I'll do something. And then Omos makes direct eye contact with him, and Randy's like, but maybe I won't. And just tosses himself right out of the ring. Saves Omos the tread. We go to commercial, we come back. Elias is in post-commercial break. He's just punching the shit out of Riddle. AJ gets in. He goes for the suplex, but launches Riddle right into his own corner. Kofi tags in. Kofi also tags in Xavier. We get a lot of kicks, and then Xavier takes out AJ's knee. Kofi gets back in. He spears a shoulder into AJ's midsection, and then goes up top. Frog splashes onto AJ. And then Xavier gets in. That's where the momentum basically stops, because Kofi gets backbreaker onto AJ, and Xavier goes up top. Elias breaks in, tackles Kofi, frees AJ. Get a big spinebuster on Xavier. Elias gets in, another spinebuster on Xavier. Elias then slams Xavier's head into the buckles and does like what I can only describe as like a Death Valley spinebuster. It was like the same thing as like the Death Valley driver, where like his head was into Xavier's chest going down, but it wasn't a Death Valley driver.
The whole heel team was just trying to get as many spine busters in as possible.
We're just trying to realign Xavier's spine, a little chiropractic work.
Trying to cave in his chest like Kofi's is.
Oh, that's not nice.
I didn't mean that as an insult. I meant that just factually. Because he's got the kind of inverted chest.
I know he does. Anyways, we get a twisting suplex to an exhausted Xavier. Elias goes to kick Xavier, but he dodges. Xavier dodges. Gets Riddle in. Riddle sends a knee to the face of Elias, knocks AJ off the apron. We get elbows to Riddle. Riddle reverses an Irish whip and manages to get the Bro Derek off on Elias. Then Omos interferes. Mandy gets in. Xavier dodges Omos, kicks AJ. AJ is then ringside, being pulled by his legs in circles by Xavier and Kofi. And Randy gets in, gets the RKO on Elias to win. Then the New Day are like all, oh no, we can't both yawn. Then the New Day are all like, yay, thanks for helping us, guys. Like, this is awesome. And then Randall Keithor and King of Making Friends RKOs both Xavier and then Kofi, and it's walks away.
And then Riddle's like, this is why we can't have anything nice.
I didn't like that Riddle treated this as like a Brady Bunch moment where he was like, Randy.
But then they did a slow-mo of Riddle's reaction. They did a slow-mo of Riddle saying, this is why we can't have anything nice.
I just really thought that was going to be the beginning of the end. And I remember that they're trying to push 4K Bro, and I was like,
Yeah. But you never know. So after that we had Sonya, Ray Ripley, and Asuka backstage. Sonya has an idea for the two to resolve their issues so that they can focus on the triple threat at Backlash. Also, Morgan Smith said Randy's not even a psycho, he's just tired, like that guy that's weeks away from retirement and will deal with zero bullshit. Yeah. Plus, he's been through the business for so long that he's like, he knows that Riddle's attitude is not going to get him really anywhere. But I don't get why Sonya wanted to resolve the two issues between them, despite them being opponents. It's like, their issue is the fact that they're opponents. That's it. Or rather, Rhea's issue is with Sonya. So unless you plan to fight Rhea, which would be a great match, Rhea chimes in and says she saw Charlotte in there earlier, so are they conspiring together? Asuka says she already competed in the ring once today, but she'll do it again. And again, we just see Rhea being like a whiny little crybaby. Like, fucking stop. God.
They really, and it's funny because we were talking about how we were worried about Rhea getting neutered by her call up. They just right off the bat, took all of her confidence away, and it's just like, Jesus Christ.
They didn't neuter her; they shot her.
Yeah.
But after that, we had Bobby and MVP backstage. MVP rails the interviewer. What's his name? Kevin.
Yeah.
He said Bobby already proved he is the champion and the best. Bobby said, tonight I'm going to beat Drew again. MVP is asked about his talks with Braun. He said he doesn't comment on business negotiations. And then Sheamus comes out. And Sheamus talks in the ring. He said they put a little video package of last week. He said something was left out of the video. When I destroyed both Mansoor and Umberto, I showed why I am the baddest fella in the world. Pierce invited me into his office to talk about the legacy of the United States Championship. But I said, why would I want to walk in the footsteps of has-beens when I can create my own legacy? Then he then points at Adnan and said he should get a shot at the title before Umberto and Mansoor. But they all have one thing in common, and they're not on my level. And then we get Umberto coming out, and we get Sheamus versus Umberto Carrillo, which is unfortunately stopped short.
Yes. Oh. Fucking Umberto. We get a takedown to Umberto that is met with a head scissor submission hold on Sheamus. Shoulder tackle to Umberto, and then he wants the arm drag, but he gets a fist to the back from Sheamus, and like a flurry of more fists. There's a kick under the jaw to Sheamus, and then like a tornado arm drag, a drop kick to Sheamus, and then another after Sheamus is sent ringside. He goes to baseball slide into Sheamus, but then gets caught and pulled face first into the ground. He's thrown into the timekeeper's area. Poor Mike Rome is just fucking at odds with himself. Rio then gets some nasty like fucking fists onto Sheamus, who clotheslines the piss out of him. Gets the 10 beats of the bottom, and then pulls off the Celtic Smile. Umberto fights free with some body shots and then a jawbreaker on Sheamus. Sheamus lifts him, hits him with an Alabama Slam. Sheamus then goes up top with Carrillo on his shoulders, and Carrillo fights free. It's a Super Rana to Sheamus off the second rope. And then things get like bad because Sheamus looks like he's setting Carrillo up for the 10 beats of the bottom again. Carrillo fights out. We end up with Umberto ringside. Sheamus on the apron, I believe. Rio picks him up, powerbomb him, to sit out powerbomb him ringside area. And when he goes to do that, Sheamus lands on fucking Umberto's knee.
His legs kind of buckle as he lands, and then Sheamus lands right on his pelvis.
Oh, the pelvis? Okay.
Yeah, people are worried whether it's his leg, his tailbone, or something else.
What happened after that was a moment of awkward silence, more or less, as the announcers are like, they were still talking, but movement-wise silence. As Umberto points to the
timekeeper,
medics in the timekeeper's area. Goes like this, and points to himself. The ref comes out, and just like I fucking expected, the ref is like, "We're done. Thanks, folks.
yeah.
Go home."
And then he raised Sheamus's arm to have kind of an ending to the match. But really hope
Sheamus also
Umberto's...
looked like...
Yeah. I mean, that was him scrambling to figure out how he can make this work with their story.
Yeah, you could see the wheels turning in his head too, like where he's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we get to see Keith Lee sooner than we thought.
Yeah, but it sucks for Umberto though, because he was finally getting like some actual TV time, getting a story, getting a push.
You know? Yeah.
And that sucks.
He really seemed to be getting his mid-card push, and now it's like, he waited this long to get onto TV. He Chelsea Greened himself, basically.
Yeah.
Sucks to say, but...
Morgan Smith said his right knee came down in a weird angle too.
Yeah, so that was the thing, is that was the problem with Sheamus landing where he landed.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like all the force of that pushed his leg in a way, and it was like the moment that Sheamus was off of Umberto, that was when he pointed to the medics, and I was like, that's a very small movement that I totally fucking noticed.
Mm-hmm.
It seems weird the wrestler to be pointing at somebody and then going like this.
It's also weird.
That's when I was like, oh no.
It's weird that they didn't like cut away or anything or get closer shots of Sheamus. Like they stayed on Umberto.
They did after the after Derek came down and kind of was like, oh, because what they did do was they did a picture-in-picture replay while that was happening. So they may have just not had anybody in a good enough position.
Yeah. But it sucks. I feel really bad for Umberto, but hopefully,
No, I do.
Hopefully he recovers soon, and he's right back in that title position.
And he's in the shape of his fucking life, which is a lot to say for somebody who's really young.
Yeah.
I mean, that maybe that benefits him, is that he's really fucking young.
Yeah,
yes.
Ideally. But after that match, we got another Eva Marie vignette. Her just on the car, same spot, same look, nothing new. But then we move on to Cedric Alexander versus Shelton Benjamin, a match that I am surprised we got to so fast in the storyline.
Yeah, I kind of thought that we were gonna Cedric versus maybe like a jobber or something at least, but then I realized like Cedric's coming out first and we're getting his full walkout, so probably not. However, we did get both Cedric and Shelton's full walkouts, and I was like, yay! Times.
I wonder if because the Sheamus Umberto match ended so fast that they needed to add an extra match. So they added this one.
It's possible. I also wonder if maybe that was purely why we got the Eva Marie promo again, because it was the same one from last week. So.
But yeah, Morgan Smith, Cedric's theme is fantastic, and Shelton's too. I like Shelton's a lot.
I mean, first Cedric's like comes on in my brain immediately. Like it's like if you had like a scan of my brain going on, like it all just lights up. I'm like, yes.
All those endorphins.
That's how I get my serotonin. I hadn't heard Shelton's in a really long time. We haven't really heard it since first came out to fight Apollo. So, yeah. Cedric gets a drop kick and a kip up. Right off the bat, Cedric is back into Earl Chihuahua mode. It's off his fucking ass entirely. It's so funny now that we watch AEW, because it's like I see Cedric's personality and I see Big Swole's personality, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Cedric avoids pay dirt, slides out of the ring. Once he's back in, he slides out. Shelton slides out. He slides back in. Shelton gets up to the apron. We get a dragon screw on Shelton's leg, and Shelton gets taken down into a leg bar by Cedric. Shelton reverses into a modified sharpshooter, but Cedric immediately grabs the rope. We get a kick to the kneecap of Benjamin, and then Cedric drop kicks him outside the ring. Cedric then dives out of the ring onto Shelton, sending him into the barricade. He goes for it again and meets a pump knee straight to the face as Shelton jumps up to the apron. That's another thing about Shelton that I will never understand. My man can jump up so fucking high without like very much momentum going into the move. I mean, he took a few steps, hopped up to the apron with one foot and then the other one up and ready to fucking, you know what? I don't get it. Shelton wants pay dirt once he's back in the ring, but Cedric blocks him, drop kicks him. And Seguri to Shelton, and then Cedric spends all of 5 fucking minutes loading his ass off, which leads to a T-bone suplex, a new suplex in the book for me. Leads to a T-bone suplex for Shelton to win.
That was a great match, and also like, just it was like one of the only matches I actually cared about today.
It was the only match where we had people that made us care about it.
Yeah. And you know what it was all thanks to? Shelton's promo last week, where he talked about all about surviving. That's what happens when you just let a wrestler just do their thing. For the most part. Alright, so after that we had a photo shoot with Angel Garza. Drew Gulak steps in, says, "Is this a joke to you? What you did to me has never happened to anyone in the WWE. I was embarrassed and humiliated." And Angel asked, "What's your point?" And Drew Gulak said, "You embarrassed and humiliated me." And Angel Garza gets in his face and says, "Maybe next time I'll shove the rose down your throat instead." This is just some good old-fashioned strong-arming between these two. Like, nothing else. Just a pissing contest.
I'm excited for this feud. I want to see where it goes, because, like, they're both giving us some good old-fashioned wrestling promos.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Also, Morgan Smith said that the match was 4 minutes long between Cedric and Shelton. We couldn't have gotten a longer match for that.
I mean, still, for the amount of time that they took.
Yeah, it was well utilized.
Yeah. So, can I just say, Cedric screaming his head off will never not be funny to me.
Yeah, I know. I saw some people saying on Twitter that it's like distracting. I don't know. I find it charming. Nobody screams like that.
What is it distracting you from? It's part of the wrestling match. If you're distracted by it, he's doing his job.
His voice is distracting. Like how he gets all raspy when
I think
yells.
it's cute.
It's charming.
Like he's like so fucking excited. His voice like goes up a couple pitches too.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so after that, we had Asuka versus Ray Ripley to settle their issues. And no, Asuka and Ray have not settled their chemistry problems, whatever they are. But they've gotten a little better. A little better. This match wasn't great, but their chemistry looks better.
All right. We yawn to get a breath in. Rhea drives Asuka into a corner. We get a failed back fist to Rhea. And then blocked spinning back fist. Asuka finally takes Rhea's legs out, drop kicks her in the whole ass face, tosses her, and goes for a second toss. It's blocked. Rhea then tosses Asuka herself, stomps on her, get a big takedown that gets Rhea into an armbar, which she successfully breaks by reaching the rope. Rhea then rolls out and back in. As Asuka rolls out, she avoids the hip attack, sends a boot to the face of Asuka, gets her back in the ring just in time for Charlotte Flair to come out. Charlotte's like, I am just here to watch a match. I'm just here to have some fun. I was like, okay. Which, to be fair, I have fewer criticisms for Charlotte than you do. If anybody's distracting, it is watching Charlotte. It's listening to Charlotte on commentary. You know, like that was kind of the point. I stopped caring about the match when I was listening to her.
Yeah, honestly, me too.
To be fair, her fucking conversation with Corey and like her string of Adnan and Byron was kind of more entertaining to me.
Yeah.
It became like, it was sort of like with like AEW Dark, where it's like, I'm kind of more interested in watching Taz and Excalibur talk over the wrestling. Except this wasn't nearly as good as that. Don't get me wrong. But Asuka backhands Rhea to get her attention back in the ring. We get a body scissors submission on Asuka after the commercial break. Asuka finally thrusts herself free of. We get a drop kick into Asuka and then a kick to the hamstring, as well as a headbutt. Asuka attempts like double knees to the face of Rhea. And I guess Rhea like catches her. Like that was the plan. And she kind of dropped her when she caught her. Like, it seemed like the idea was that she was going to go for the double knees, but Rhea was going to hold on to her and then maybe like powerbomb her. Instead, she's kind of like lost her grip. We go to ringside. There's a near electric chair into the apron, but Asuka lands on the apron feet first.
I didn't get this move. Like, what was the plan? She raised her up so that she could land on her feet. The move didn't make any sense.
The plan was to electric chair her into the apron. The execution, there's no way to execute it making it look like an electric chair into the apron. They're supposed to land with their feet on the apron. There's no way to make it look like that without making it look like it's gonna fail.
Yeah.
Just
like it literally
the stupidest thing.
It literally looked like Rhea picked up Asuka and placed her there. Like that's it.
Yeah. This ends in a pump kick to the face of Rhea. Get back in the ring. Asuka's trying to get the Asuka lock locked in. Asuka is then slung out of the ring. Charlotte distracts Asuka as Rhea goes in and headbutts her. Get a big suplex and a bridge, but Asuka still breaks free. Rhea goes for the riptide. Asuka gets the double knees to the face. Charlotte then distracts Rhea. Ringside, Rhea gets hip attacked. Get back in the ring. Asuka goes off the top rope with a missile drop kick. Goes for another hip attack, but this time she is caught and riptided. For Rhea to win.
It was a clean finish in a match that shouldn't have had a clean finish. It was like this one and Bobby versus Drew should not have had clean finishes. And yeah, Bobby and Drew didn't have a clean finish. But I don't know why this one did. It didn't make any sense. But I guess it is a little excusable because it's a triple threat. And this won't really decide the fate. Let's see. After that match, we had an interview with Drew McIntyre. He said he had no intention of getting involved last week until Braun touched him with his disgusting, dirty, filthy, gnarly hands. Drew, why are you talking about his hands so detailed?
I mean, I too love hands, but kind of in a romantic way, so I don't really know what Drew's going for here.
He then said he's got to focus on tonight. He can't worry about Bobby and Braun working together. He's He completely has not mentioned Mace or T-Bar at all. And so we then move on to John Morrison versus Damien Priest for who decides the stipulation for Backlash between The Miz and Damien Priest.
Can you believe that they're really trying to break up John Morrison and The Miz?
I can, because John Morrison needs to. The Miz needs his own. Like, he needs to be by himself. Morrison still needs a mouthpiece. He's gonna suffer. The Miz will benefit, but Morrison will suffer. Morgan Smith is right. Morrison is doing the Riddle gimmick in a show that has Riddle. He's kind of playing the moron.
Yeah.
Unless he goes to SmackDown. That'd be nice.
No. Anywho.
Yep.
So there was a way I saw this happening and it didn't happen that way, so now I'm kind of like not sure what's gonna happen at Backlash. But anyways, so we get a fist to Damien that leads to Damien tossing John into the buckles. And then he sends a bunch of fists into him. There's a kick to the chest of Priest. John gets on his back, bringing Priest down to the mat. And by on his back, I mean on Damien's back. He doesn't like go into like head bug mode. Get a sliding knee into Damien, and then a headlock on Priest. Damien drives John into. Excuse me. Getting something bubbly. Oh boy. Damien drives John right into the corner, unloads a fucking massive right fist. Whips John into the buckles. Morrison then goes to the apron, cartwheels away from Priest, cartwheels back into a kick upside the head to Priest. And then he gets back in the ring, and we get like a pop-up fucking sucker punch, for lack of a better word. So it wasn't like a pop-up uppercut or anything like that. It was just like he threw him up and then just fucking socked him. And I was like, I think that was a closed fist. Morrison is covered, but he grabs the rope to break the hold or the cover. And then The Miz pulls John from the ring. He distracts Priest ringside to give John some more time to kind of recover. There's an elbow to the face of Damien, and then Damien's clothesline from the ring while the ref is distracted. Miz sends a knee into Damien's face. And then spends at least 5 more minutes saying, oh, well, it's very slippery over here. Like, somebody should clean this up. He just fell and hit his head. Oh, and I was like, Miz, shut the bless.
Morgan Smith said, I'm watching an old Priest run with the TV title on Ring of Honor, and he's very good with the mic. If only he was trading promos with the heel Miz, this feud would be way better. There's less mic exchanges between them than you would think.
Dude, Punishment Martinez was something special. WWE will never have that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Punishment Martinez match versus Jay White, where Jay White gets his ass handed to Damien. But I mean, Damien looked nasty back then, and he still looks pretty mean.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one thing that we can say about Damien that we can't really say about Rhea, or even at this point Shayna. Damien still looks good, and Damien still has a pretty strong personality. I'm looking forward to him not being in this feud, though.
Yeah.
So Johnny comes ringside, gets a back heel to Damien, and then a side Russian leg sweep once we're back in the ring to Damien, and then a headlock. This, however, ends in a bell clap to Morrison and a big spinning back heel. Some kicks, some punches. Damien breaks Morrison down for a while, hits him with a hard broken arrow. What am I trying to say? Damien then goes up top. John stops his ascent with some forearms to the face, meets him up there, and is eventually flung face first to the ground. Even when he is blocked, he still makes his descent from like the top rope look like a parkour move. It was so funny to me because I kind of thought that, like he did something on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The way he fell to the ground. I was like, no, that's just John's special little way.
John Morrison is good at the wrestling.
He's very good. I'm very sports entertained by him. Damien then gets all the way up top, goes down with a jumping, spinning heel kick. Morrison counters Damien after a certain point, rolls him up. A kick to the knee of Morrison after Damien breaks the cover. Miz distracts the referee. Mr. Miz, for whatever fucking reason, jumps up on the apron and distracts the ref. And I said, that's weird because what John did after that was a legal move. I was like, why are you distracting the ref right now?
Well, it was Damien had the upper hand and he wanted to get the ref away so that Morrison could have time to kick out if he was pinned, but Miz didn't anticipate Morrison reversing it and then getting the pin.
Which might come up in the future.
It's happened on more than one occasion.
And twice now in the exact same way. Which, to be fair, is kind of annoying. Have the same exact thing hinder the match in the same exact way, basically at the same exact time.
But it is that kind of distraction done right because it will affect the story going forward. And although it is the same exact one, it's yet another failed distraction and another match blown for John Morrison.
But Morrison rolls Priest up, so the ref's ignorance. Priest then hit the lights. The win. Miz jumps in, attacks Damien. A failed skull-crushing finale. The Miz runs away. Priest gets another hit the lights off onto John and just stands there. So I kind of thought that John was going to win because then if Miz sets the stipulation and Damien's going in looking weak, I thought that means Damien's going to have a guaranteed win at Backlash.
Yeah.
Now I'm not so sure.
But after that match, we had another Eva Marie vignette. This time during a photo shoot, she calls herself the super role model. And Bailey's on Twitter just commenting on everything that WWE posts about Eva Marie with just dumb, stupid, all that, even though they're on two separate brands. Britt Baker, I wouldn't be surprised if she was mad too. She's the role model.
The general consensus I'm getting for these promos, Eva's just like, I want everyone to like be just as confident as I. It feels backhanded. There's something about her. There's something about her entire personality that makes these promos feel like she's trying to be like this, like the stereotypical like high school prom queen where she's like super sweet to everybody, but like in the back of her head, she's like, fuck this person and fuck that person and fuck that person. It feels insincere. It feels disingenuous.
It feels very Mean Girls.
It feels like I'm back in high school and I'm like stressed by her. I'm like, she's going to say something really mean to me and it's going to stick with me for the rest of my life.
It feels like Carmella's introduction done poorly. And that's probably just Raw being Raw. Carmella was done better.
You said this to me, which is just, it's not adding anything to the roster. It's
right. That's Raw keeps making this mistake where they're adding new things. They're adding like Eva Marie, Jinder Mahal. They're adding these people, but not anything new. Jinder's been there. Yes, Jinder's faction seems to be a little new. But it's all stuff that's not really pushing Raw forward or trying to differentiate Raw from anything else.
First of all, let's not lump Eva Marie and Jinder into the same boat, because Jinder at least has a personality. He's got a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a noticeable vibe, and it's a different vibe from other people.
Yeah.
Eva Marie, though, and I'm still holding out hope that her wrestling is going to change my opinion, that she's going to come back after this 5-year hiatus. She's going to be something cool to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still holding out hope for that.
Yeah.
But right now, her gimmick...
Compare Raw to NXT real quick. Raw's additions, they like nothing is moving the scene forward. Nothing is trying to add spice at all. Like you can't look at anything here and say this will change how the brand operates. But you look at NXT, look at the Diamond Mine. Look at that possible faction of all MMA wrestlers. That could really change things. Pat McAfee changed things on NXT. Karrion Kross has changed things on NXT. Like it's all accepting that this landscape you're making is going to adjust, change, go through evolutions. Roman Reigns, when he came back, changed SmackDown.
I have a lot of hope that Jinder's going to do something special. Yeah.
I have a feeling he's just going to feud with Drew.
Here's the thing, is that if Drew is taken out of the title scene, that at least, I mean, if Jinder could be his Sheamus feud done right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we get that, we're going to get a really cool feud. We're going to get a really cool storyline. And yeah, it's not going to change how Raw operates, but it'll be something interesting to look forward to.
That's also, you're hoping that they're going to do it right. But Retribution and the Hurt Business were supposed to change Raw, and they fucked all that up.
Raw's resilient to change, also.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's all them trying to stick to the formula.
I mean, they were more than happy for Shayna and Naya to drop the titles. They missed one opportunity to drop the titles. Now no one can take it off them for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So
Morgan Smith said they changed Raw. Raw is unbearable. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Once we got to the fucking Asuka Rhea fight and we noticed that it was only like there was still an hour left, my spirit was like in one of those like fucking like, you know, those like old like, the videos that people were obsessed with for a while, where it was like putting shit into like a power crusher thing.
The hydraulic press.
Yeah, my spirit went into a fucking hydraulic press. I was so devastated. It's like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, not only do we have an hour left of this fucking show, but then we've got to do this, which we enjoy doing because of the people we talk to. It's like, we have to relive it too.
Yeah. Like, Raw has tried to change their landscape. I mean, look at Alexa Bliss. They tried to change things there with Alexa Bliss. That would have made a huge evolution to the women's roster, and they're still trying to do that, but it's not compelling. It's not interesting. The Fiend changed SmackDown.
I've decided that this is going to be my Lily.
Fair. It's a much better Lily. Now, if they have Alexa Bliss completely dominate the women's scene because of these supernatural powers, great. Great. Because you're actually evolving the landscape. And then somebody can take her down later on after like killing Lily or something. Morgan Smith said, Sam, I was like, nice women are main eventing. Wait, there's still 1 hour left. Oh, fuck.
That was exactly how it felt, because like I kept forgetting about Drew versus Bobby, and every time I remembered Drew versus Bobby, it was like not only was there an hour left, what we were building up to was something I was not fucking interested in. However, we could use Drew in a good way this time. May I remind you of Eric Rowan and the Spider? Let's take that energy over to Lily.
Rhea is gonna do that. Or Sonya.
They should had Rhea come back, feud with fucking Alexa Bliss, because she fucking took Alexa Bliss the fuck out during the fucking, what was it?
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble. Yeah.
Remember Randy's feud with The Fiend and TLC? Remember when he lit The Fiend on fire and that was like fucking amazing? It's none of that anymore. You've no mind-blowing moments. And they don't have to be supernatural. AEW has mind-blowing moments. NXT is mind-blowing moments. SmackDown is mind-blowing moments, like Daniel Bryan getting kicked off of SmackDown. That was mind-blowing. You don't have that on Raw. At all. Not anymore. Anyway, we still have more show to go through. We have a promo between Adam Pearce and Damian Priest. There's like mic problems going in. There's just shuffling you can hear. I think it was Damian Priest in his gear. Morgan Smith said Alexa has space to grow, but she's in that Alistair territory, rating 1 week at a time without any sense of long term. Yeah, that's exactly right. Damien wants a lumberjack match at Backlash, and I said, fuck, you picked the one stipulation that is not interesting at all. Lumberjack matches are boring as shit because all the lumberjacks always look so corny. Have a fucking steel cage match. That's interesting. That's the same concept as a lumberjack match, but it looks better.
Lumberjack is the steel cage walls.
Yeah. Or Hell in a Cell. If you're worried about The Miz running away, Hell in a Cell match.
Oh, you mean the match where it's actually a fucking cage?
Okay, all right. Well, let's not go into that right now. We don't have time for you to go into that. But now our main event. We have Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. A match that didn't need to happen.
My nail just broke.
Why did this match need to happen?
Oh, well, here's the thing, actually. Got this on a reliable source. This match didn't need to happen. Reliable source is me.
Yeah. You could have just elongated all the other matches. Had the main of like Roman is not fighting every week. Roman spends the main event sometimes making promos. You don't need Bobby to have a match every fucking week. He doesn't need to prove himself.
Especially with like the fighting champion, but it's like
he's not
rather
defending.
My champion be fun to watch.
Yeah. Roman's fighting champion. He doesn't fight every week though. Oh yep. God. So fucking tiring. Anyway. You want to kick this off? Yeah.
Okay. Right off the bat, Drew goes for a Claymore. And Bobby goes for the Hurt Lock.
I didn't get this.
Yeah.
The Bobby specifically went into this match to hurt Drew so that he couldn't make it to Backlash, but he tried to end the match immediately. Why? And Morgan Smith said the fighting champion is a babyface trope. Bobby is just fighting because he has to prove himself to MVP. But whenever MVP pitches the Hurt Business, he puts Bobby above him. Bobby's the CEO. MVP, he says is the CFO or something. COO, CFO, whatever. Like, Bobby's above him.
Isn't he the chief hurt officer?
Yeah. He used to say the CEO. Bobby was the CEO. I don't know, man. I don't know.
So there's a side headlock on McIntyre. Then a shoulder to the midsection of Drew. We get fists to the back of Lashley, and then a boot to the face that sends Lashley slamming to the ground. There's an overhead toss suplex ringside, because we end up out there. We get back in the ring post-commercial break. Bobby sends Drew off the second rope, ass first onto the ground. There's a flatliner DDT to Drew. Bobby can't lift Drew for the vertical suplex, which I thought was kind of fucking fake. Whatever. You know, Bobby is fucking jacked. How are you telling me? He lifted Braun, I think, for a vertical suplex. Like, you're telling me he can't lift Drew? Okay. Drew lifts Bobby, though, because Drew's just so fucking strong.
I'm gonna have a nice hot take for you. Drew's boring.
Fuck. No offense, that's kind of a lukewarm take because I think that's the general consensus. And it pains me. I love Andrew McIntyre. Truly do.
Remember when
He's just the cream of the crop.
Remember when he had one of the best title reigns in modern era until it was kind of ruined by endless rematches against Randy?
The pain I have with him, outside of the fact that, like, fans that like him are kind of fucking cuckoo. Like 90% of them are a little.
I imagine any stan is extremely cuckoo.
No, what I mean is, like, it seems like a lot of people that really like him marks for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not to say if you like. I mean, I like him, but you can't acknowledge the fact that he's boring as fuck right now, and also he's kind of annoying.
He's
kind of really fucking annoying lately.
Yep.
It's just, if I met a man like Drew, I'd probably hit him.
Anyway, let's finish up the match.
Yeah. So Drew lifts Bobby, slams him down to the vertical suplex. McIntyre's then sent outside of the ring after Mr. Lashley rams into him. Bobby then hangs Drew up on the top rope before going out to ringside to meet him out there. Drew is slammed into the post head first after being draped over Bobby's shoulders. Drew then bombs Lashley into the turnbuckles. Once we get back in the ring, as Bobby goes spear Drew, Drew just kind of sidesteps. We start exchanging blows. We get an overhead belly to belly, and then another one, and a neck breaker, and a kip up. And let me just tell you, Drew McIntyre might be boring, but my God, is he a fucking attractive. There's a failed future shock DDT. Glasgow kiss that just doesn't hit quite the same without Samoa Joe. Then we get a spine buster, a jackknife cover. Drew goes for the Claymore. The crossbody from Bobby blocks it, flattens Drew. Bobby goes for the hurt lock, but cannot get it locked in. So Lashley ends up suplexing Drew. And then we get a Claymore. And then we get Braun. And then we get like 41 different fucking versions of a running power slam.
Yeah. Braun stands tall at the end of it. And that's the episode. Morgan Smith said if the plans were just Bobby loses by DQ, he should have just beaten the fuck out of Drew with chairs and a table bump. Makes him look strong, reminds everyone the triple threats are no DQ, and solidifies Drew as a sympathetic babyface. Sounds perfect. You just wrote a decent episode right there. A decent match.
You know what? That's how I know it won't happen.
Yeah.
Or it wouldn't happen.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I'm tired. The only scene I'm interested in now on Raw is Sheamus. Sheamus is the only interesting thing going on.
I'm holding out hope that Cedric and Shelton isn't over. I think that might happen at Backlash.
I hope so. I hope they go to Backlash, but I have a feeling they won't. I have a strong inkling. All right, so best of the night. Also remind everyone of our Q&A segment after the best of the night. If you have a question in Twitch, leave your question in the chat. I'm gonna try and open up the YouTube, the last YouTube video, see if we have any questions in the comments there. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment down below, and we'll answer that question in the next episode. Questions can be any related to any facet, wrestling, non-wrestling, whatever. All right, so promo of the night. Let's start off. Okay, so we started with the New Day and Riddle backstage, with Randy coming in. This was pretty decent. A little funny. Randy was kind of funny by being overly serious. I liked it. Let's see, we then had MVP checking on Braun. Also, we didn't do the Q&A on SmackDown, so we have a question from NXT in the NXT video that we did not answer. So we'll answer that in this episode. I apologize, Milam.
Still love you, Milam.
Yes. MVP talking to Braun. It was a nice segment. MVP continues to prove why he's carrying Raw on his shoulders. Then we had Pierce, Priest, Miz, and Morrison. That was whatever. Jinder Mahal. It was nice to see Jinder, but the segment itself was just alright. Sonya and Charlotte. I mean, that was didn't even have any audio. Elias, AJ, and Omos. That was really dumb. That whole segment was really dumb. I hated. Every time they bring up the tomatoes, I hate it.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing to keep as a running segment.
I start seething when tomatoes are mentioned now. Then we had Sonya, Ray, and Asuka backstage. Rhea showing that she's just a whiny little baby. Then we had Bobby and MVP backstage. That was fine. We had Sheamus talking in the ring. I liked this a lot because you don't get Sheamus talking himself up in promos too often. I liked this. Really did. Like, I could do with Sheamus calling himself the baddest fella every week. I'm gonna lump both Eva Marie vignettes in one shot because they're both kind of the same thing. They were whatever, didn't give us anything new. The Angel Garza photo shoot. It was just funny. Then we had an interview with Drew. That was whatever. Then we had Pierce and Damien Priest. It was whatever. I'm gonna go with Sheamus. I'm gonna go with Sheamus calling himself the baddest fella. There's nothing else.
Stood out to me tonight, so I'll go with you.
There wasn't a single good promo. There wasn't. Or anything that stood out. Alright, so Miriam's got a question for us, and we have one on YouTube. So that's 2 questions to answer after the best of the night.
Answering question.
Alright, so wrestler of the night. So we started with Charlotte, Naya, and Shayna versus Asuka, Mandy, and Dana. Who the fuck did I put for this? Asuka. Sure. I have no reasoning. I don't know why I wrote Asuka. I just did. Then we had
For most of it.
Oh yeah, she did.
Yeah.
I was gonna write Shayna, but Shayna just looked like she didn't want to be there.
I Tamina never looks like she wants to be there anymore, and I don't blame her.
Except on pay-per-views. She brings it for pay-per-views. Which is the opposite of Cesaro. Cesaro brings it no matter what. Alright, then we had Jinder Mahal versus Jeff Hardy. I picked Jinder. Nice to have him back. Nice power hitter. Love him. He's great.
Boy.
Then we had RK Bro and the New Day versus AJ, Omos, Elias, and who else? I think I picked Elias. I picked Elias. Elias looked great. Elias hitting those spine, but he hits a nasty spine buster. And then what's the name of that move that he finished with? I don't remember. It was like the twisting suplex. I think that's what they called it, the twisting suplex.
Love to give you a real answer, but
that's okay. His finisher looks so good. Alright, so after that we had Sheamus versus Umberto. God rest his soul. I'm gonna pick Umberto. He looked great until it got unfortunate, but he just looked fantastic. I could watch those two go at it like for a half-hour long match. They were so good. Then we had Cedric Alexander versus Shelton Benjamin. I picked Cedric. Cedric brought the fire. He brought the passion to this match. He is just a little chihuahua let loose. I love it. I love Cedric. Hopefully he's not actually getting buried. What was that?
Just so mad.
Then we had Asuka versus Ray Ripley. I picked Asuka. Neither were really great in this. Rhea hit a nice suplex. Really it. Then we had John Morrison versus Damien Priest. I picked John Morrison. John Morrison he can go. He can wrestle. I love him. Damien, he looked okay. I mean, it wasn't his best night. But John Morrison, yeah, he brings it every single week. And then
Damien looked a little adrift today.
He did. Also, we have a question from Morgan's Miss too, so we got 3 questions.
I love questions.
So then we had Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. I picked Bobby. Drew gives us the same stuff every single match. Bobby can adapt. Bobby's, he's dynamic.
Yeah.
I also liked when he like just hugged MVP for a second. Love it. I love the dynamic between those two.
No.
But if I were to pick one wrestler from tonight, man, I'm gonna make eliminations. I'll probably switch based on what you say, but it's not Asuka, it's not Jinder, it's not Umberto, it's not Bobby, it's not John. I'm gonna go with Elias. Elias is my pick for Wrestler of the Night. But depending on what you say, I'm willing to switch.
I'll go with Elias.
Okay.
It's interesting to watch.
My second choice was Cedric. But
yeah, see, I would have gone with Shelton. T-bone suplex really got me.
Okay. But Elias is our Wrestler of the Night.
Because I feel like Elias really needs that love.
Elias, yeah, he needs a lot right now. All right, so match of the night. We start off with the 6-women tag. It was fine. It was fine. But the fucking Alexa Bliss watching was unnecessary. This match was unnecessary. Then we had Jinder Mahal versus Jeff Hardy. A nice solid match. This was solid. This is great. Just a good old wrestling match between these two. Nothing else. Just wrestling.
For wrestling.
Then we had RK Bro in the New Day versus AJ, Omos, Elias, and what's his name? This was a pretty decent match. It was decent. I mean, it had some really great spots, but I mean, everything else was kind of alright. When the New Day, when Kofi and Xavier each had one of AJ's legs, so we're just spinning him around. I don't even know what that was. It was just so funny.
It was unnecessary and it was perfect.
And then the repeated spine busters over and over onto Xavier. It was some good stuff. And then the ending was great too. Randy just deciding to RKO everybody. Great stuff. Then we had Sheamus versus Umberto. This would have been a fantastic match. This would have been fantastic. Who knows how it would have ended? It's a shame it ended how it did, but this had potential to be fantastic. It was on its way. Then we had Cedric Alexander versus Shelton Benjamin. Fantastic match. For this only being a 4-minute match, this was great. This was great. I cared so much about this match. There was so much, like, there wasn't a ton of story behind it, but there was just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough. It was great. And solid wrestling too. Then we had Asuka versus Ray Ripley, which fell flat. Then we had John Morrison versus Damien Priest. Only half was there. The whole bit with Damien and The Miz on the sideline was very weird. Could have just had Damien beat Morrison and then go out on the sideline and confront The Miz. It was just a weird match. And then we had Bobby vs. Drew, which is a non-finish. Average match for these guys, I guess. But if I'm going to pick one match for match of the night, it has got to be Cedric Alexander versus Shelton Benjamin.
I cannot disagree with you.
Right. Perfect.
I like that match a lot. It gave me a lot of... It was really interesting to watch, and this is why I kind of hope that we get more of it, because it was interesting to watch, and it was like a storyline that I heard about. And it took a tag team breakup that wasn't super, like, heartbreaking in the sense that, like, I wasn't sitting there, like, gutted, but, like, I was, like, upset. But it took a match like that, and it didn't let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like, I didn't lose the plot at any point.
Yeah. Yeah. Story was first and foremost in this match.
Yeah.
So, to run it back, promo of the night, Sheamus is the baddest fella. Wrestler of the night, Elias. Match of the night, Cedric Alexander versus Shelton Benjamin. Alright, you want to do Q&A? Alright, so we'll start with Miriam's question. Dream opponent from NXT for Sheamus' US title. I want to say Johnny, but I would want Johnny in the main event.
I think my dream opponent for him would probably be... I try to remember everybody that's in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Pete.
Pete Dunne? Pretty good.
He'd probably be pretty good. We have very similar styles in terms of, like, speed.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheamus isn't too bad at the technical side of wrestling.
Let's see, if we're counting NXT UK, I'd say Ilya Dragunov. But if we're not counting NXT UK, then I'd say Bronson Reed. Because imagining Sheamus white noising Bronson.
It was a close second for me. That was another name that kind of popped up in my head. I was like, I also think that like Sheamus and Dexter would be really funny. I don't think Sheamus would know what to do with Dexter.
I don't think that match would be that great because Dexter is good with opponents that are like kind of smaller stature than him.
True.
Like Johnny is a fantastic opponent for him. Austin Theory as well. Miriam said we're always counting on NXT UK. So yeah, I'd say Ilya. Because not only can Ilya always put on a fantastic match, but just imagining those two guys who get red very easily and get bloody very easily, that would look like a death match, even though it would be just a normal title match. Oh yeah.
That'd be brutal. That'd be awesome.
All right, Morgan's missed question. How's the outside like? I don't think my age group in Brazil will be vaccinated in 2021, and I can't even. Oh, outside's nice. Well, I'll be fully vaccinated with the additional 2 weeks, May 18th or May 19th. So I'll be able to tell you for sure then.
Occasionally, when Mark and I are walking back to our apartment, we get onto our block. If there's nobody that we can see, take our masks off and breathe in fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
It rained the other day. It was like the first time he and I like got to breathe in like that post-rain air.
Yeah.
I had like a religious experience, I think. And I finally got to see my mom and my stepdad and my grandma and my dog this past weekend for the first time without masks on. And it was so crazy. I felt there's a part of me that was like, I feel like we're like doing something bad.
Although the CDC now says like if you're outside, you don't have to wear a mask, and as long as you're fully vaccinated.
I don't have that kind of trust in me. I'll probably keep wearing a mask, but Mark and I are planning to go to a bar the night before I go away on vacation, so that's gonna be.
It's gonna be a Wednesday. There will be nobody there.
Do my makeup again though to go outside to like a place.
Mm.
So exciting. I feel like it's gonna rain though. I feel like it's gonna rain on that Wednesday, and we'll just be like, well, fuck.
But we're hoping the best for you, Morgan's Miss. We're hoping you guys will be vaccinated sooner rather than later.
Yes, and hopefully, our country stops fucking it up for everyone else. Because we seem to be we seem to be a little greedy with our vaccines at this point in time.
Yeah. All right, so we have a question on the YouTube. Milam says, if you were in charge of introducing a new character / gimmick for a new wrestler coming in, male or female, what's your idea? New character / gimmick for a new wrestler coming in. That's difficult. I'd probably do a military thing.
Okay. Careful, Forgotten Son.
Well, like Forgotten Sons, but not like looking racist. more so like Sergeant Slaughter that's not as much of a caricature. Like somebody who's an expert in jujitsu, wears camo, like extremely disciplined, something like that.
I think I'd want to do something like Shayna Baszler, but done right.
Mm-hmm.
I would want somebody that is a woman that is purely technical wrestler.
Mm.
And just like, I feel like her personality would have to be very like, as I like to call it, for me, Uncle Ricky. Which is when Liz has a couple beers and watches the baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
I'd want her to be very like, not one of the guys, but very like laid back, very cool. But also in the ring, a fucking psychopath.
It's probably what if Layla Hirsch ever turns heel. Or if Chris Statlander was like more technical.
If Chris Statlander were more just toned down.
Yeah.
They'd have to have dark hair.
I was thinking before the podcast, like, you don't have much variety in terms of fighting styles in women. I mean, you had Ronda Rousey, who was MMA, but she's not active anymore. Shayna Baszler is technical, but she only goes so far. Like, she's not pure technical like Pete Dunne, Kushida, or Riddle. She's kind of an in-between.
That you didn't mention Tim Thatcher there, but...
I always forget about him. He's so forgettable. I'm just kidding. But yeah, you don't have a lot. You don't have a ton of variety. Miriam said unsubscribed.
It's fine, Miriam.
Oh.
I wish you well. I'm stuck. I think like a woman who's purely technical, only grappling, it's similar to Layla Hirsch. Like if you were to take Layla Hirsch, Chris Statlander, a little bit of Shayna, a little bit of Sonya.
Maybe a little.
We don't really get that with Sonya anymore.
Maybe a little Alistair with the martial arts.
Yeah, I think that's what I would want.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I would 100% want her to be like super laid back outside of the ring, and then like game face on in the ring.
Yeah.
Add in a little Orange Cassidy into the mix.
Okay. All right. So that ends the Q&A. Thank you all so much for watching. Liz, would you like to close out the show?
I think I just described the women wrestler that I would probably have the biggest crush on. Probably. I think that's what I accidentally just did there.
Yeah, I think you just described your crush. Although Morgan Smith said Layla Hirsch in Stardom has this vibe. She seems even more legit around all the Joshis.
Okay. I'll check that out then. Because now that I know what I want. So thank you so much if you watched this tonight. If you tuned in tonight, thank you so much. Please don't forget, if you have any more questions that come to mind, to leave a comment on the YouTubes, or I guess you can add us on Twitter if that's really the vibe you want to go with. It doesn't matter. We'll see it. Please, and if you tuned in the future, thank you so much. I'm really out of sorts. Mm-hmm. But please tune in tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about NXT. It's going to be super fun. I look forward to it. You should too. There's a ton of shit happening tomorrow night. Like, Austin Theory's probably going to die. Kel and Mercedes are going to have a match where I have to sit back and just be like, oh my god, ladies.
We also have Kushida versus Santos.
Oh, Kushida versus Santos. Didn't even about that. So it's always a fun time. So please tune in. It'll be a roaring good time, and it's 11 days till my birthday, so just don't forget about that either.
And thank you all so much for watching. Our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment asking us a question for the next episode. Milam, I won't leave you hanging this time. But we have all of our previous episodes there if you want to check them out. Or if you're watching on YouTube, check out the live show. We can talk to you live. Our Twitter is @Pinfall Podcast. I am @TheMarkCameron on Twitter. Liz is @ElizaElane23. And also, I want to shout out my stream real quick because Money in the Bank is happening this Thursday. WWE 2K20 Universe Mode. Money in the Bank. Big event happening. Ray Phoenix versus Sting for the WWE Championship. It's going to be fucking awesome. And I'm commentating. Liz might be hanging out. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alright. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for NXT.